Just two adjacent girls living in a lovely world. They took a podcast train going anywhere, but kind of specifically through Austin, Texas. Yeah, hook 'em horns.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome to Adjacent. Today we have a really special, interesting guest who's really going to touch your heart and get you connected to all things on the spectrum. And we are talking to somebody that really inspired Shelly in her quest to help Coulter with his journey. So who do we have today, Shelly?
I met Daniel at the Texas Parent to Parent Conference a couple years ago. I was hosting a room, and Daniel was one of our incredible speakers, and I was blown away by his topic and everything that he shared. So I'm so glad to have him on the show, and can't wait for everybody to learn about Daniel and all the good stuff he's doing out there. So we have Daniel.
All right.
Yay!
What have you been up to?
What have you been up to before we get started?
What have I been up to? I am currently working in a charter school in the special education field while trying to get speaking gigs. And then in the afternoons and weekends, I am a sports official year-round in 3 different sports: softball, basketball, and volleyball.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Daniel loves sports, Jody. I think he loves sports more than Casey Reed.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow. So you're working in a charter school with special needs students. What ages are you working with these days?
I work through K through 6.
Okay.
Wow. That's Jody is a special ed teacher in AISD, Austin ISD.
Yes.
So you'll have the same caseloads.
And well, yeah, mine's K through 5th. We stop at 5th, but yeah. There you go. And I see you have a TCU shirt on. Are you a big TCU fan over there?
I am. I'm thrilled. From yesterday, we went to the March Madness game out at TCU with TCU playing Louisville, and they won. The ladies did. It's the first time they've advanced to the Sweet 16, so that's the furthest they've ever gone.
Yes.
And that's where I got my bachelor's degree from.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, tell us about your journey and how you have happened upon spreading the great word about people on the spectrum. So explain to us everything that you've been doing.
In my mid-20s, I went to get a paycheck on a typical Friday afternoon. And I was working for a temporary job in the healthcare area, and I got called into the office. So when I got called into the office, I knew something wasn't right. And when I got called in the office, I turned out to be right. I had been let go. This had been like the 5th job I had lost in about a 14-month span. And this was in my mid-20s, so I had lost my job. So I thought to myself, I'm going to learn how I lost this job. At least find out why I lost it, how I can learn from it, how I can advocate for myself in the next situation. They never disclosed why at all. They didn't disclose anything to me. So I couldn't learn from the situation. I knew something was wrong. Something wasn't right. I knew I had to get tested to see if I was on the autism spectrum. I had learned a little bit about it before through a therapist. I had read into it a little bit myself. And I needed to see if I got tested. It was so bad when I lost this job. I was so hurt and crushed because I didn't know how to hold on to a job.
Yeah.
It got so bad in my life that I wanted to smoke pot.
You did.
But because It was so bad. I just needed something to just relax me. But
Yeah.
there was one problem to it. I didn't know where to get it from because I was growing up so sheltered in my life and was so cocooned being in my parents' house for most of my first 18 years of my life. I grew up sheltered and didn't know where to get it from. So I knew that route wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So I needed to get tested. And right then, in November 2008, I got tested. And I found out in December 2008 that I was on the spectrum. So I had just lost 6 jobs in that 14-month span from September of 2007 to November 2008. I had repossessed a car, so I couldn't even pay my own car payments. So it couldn't get any worse. So I had realized I have nowhere but to go up in that situation. So I started being a student of my condition. I started advocating for myself. I tried to remember to myself I wanted to be able to eventually support myself, get married, and have a job that I could hold for 1 year at the time. Be able to hold a job for a year to build confidence and build something on the resume. So one of the first books I read was by John Elder Robinson. His book was called Look Me in the Eyes.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things I saw in similarities between the two of us. He was an older version. He didn't know he got diagnosed until he was in his 40s. I was in my 20s. There were a lot of similarities in our behaviors. And then I realized I needed to start getting involved in a support group. So the FEED organization, Families for Effective Autism Treatment, came into play. And I was persistent with them to get the opportunity to even start a support group. So they would tell me, call me in 6 weeks later. So I would write it on my daily planner. Then I would get back with them again 6 weeks later, and they'd say, get back with me in another 6 weeks. Eventually, we had a face-to-face conversation in the fall. So it took about 6 months of just persistence just to get with them the opportunity just to see if we could set up a support group. We started getting a support group, but most importantly, more than I ever thought would ever happen was I started public speaking. They gave me the first opportunity to public speak at their conferences. And I remember being a communication studies major, speaking and public speaking and learning from how to be an effective public speaker and try to translate everything to what I know and do it in the autism side. And I try to tell myself, no ums, you knows, be fluid, be professional when speaking, and act like you've been there and done that. That was my mentality when I got the first time to speak. And it was so good. And somebody taped it. I got to send that tape to other school districts and other people. And then it just one step led to another. Now I'm not a full-time public speaker because I have a day job and it's hard to do that. But I've gotten opportunities over the last 15 years to be a public speaker. And I've learned how to hone it in, use different topics, not just share my personal journey, but add other topics such as advocacy, mastering autonomy through the transition into adulthood, how to be socially savvy in a complex world, dating relationships, how to navigate yourself through dating, and just employment, the keys to success from sustaining it to what employers are looking at, what we should be open to, how to improve on that, the relationship between the employee and the employer.
That's incredible. What an incredible journey.
Wow.
So you graduated from TCU, which is incredible. And then you went through that process with the jobs. Was that after or before you went to school?
That was all after I graduated with my bachelor's.
Oh, okay.
from
Okay.
TCU, which is not an easy school. That's hard.
That's a hard school. So
Wow.
may I ask you, like, what was it like growing up? Were there some early signs that were missed? What was it like?
Well, first and foremost, I was considered to be they don't call this anymore, but they were considered to be Aspergers, and Aspergers wasn't into the DSM until the mid-90s. So, and that didn't happen, so I was like 11 at the time when that happened. I knew I was different when I was 11 years old by the people I was interacting with. I knew I had a specific interest, which was sports, and wasn't that eclectic or broad in expanding my horizons for knowledge elsewhere. So I knew there were some tendencies, and I realized I was sometimes too honest with people and came on too forward.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some signs I saw that said, okay, he's a little different. He's a little quirky. He's a little strange.
And were you brought up with siblings, or were you an only child?
I had two sisters that were much younger, 5 and 7 years younger than me, and I didn't have any brothers. Here's what's interesting about it. I was also nonverbal until the age of 4.
Okay.
And my dad traveled as an engineer all over the country, and that would have been interesting had my dad worked in a stationary area, a typical 8 to 5, no moving, no parts around it. Because I wonder if I had been in a daycare and was getting a typical therapy consistently in a stationary area and not moving around to different countries and states, I believe my developmental delays would have been diminished or minimized or lessened had I had that opportunity. It's not my dad's fault. He's doing the best he can to provide.
Of course.
But it would have been intriguing to see if my delays would have been lessened and not have to go through the pains of suffering before I was 18, during those first 18 to 25 years of my life.
Yeah.
Right. And then, early intervention has been proven to help so many people on the spectrum. So getting those early therapies probably would have mitigated some of the gaps or the areas that were a struggle for you. But I know our parents all did the best that they could. We know
Of
that.
course.
Not blaming them or anything, but we understand that hindsight 2020.
Well, and it was a different time, like Daniel was saying, is it wasn't even out there. It wasn't
Right.
even a diagnosis at that point.
Right.
And there were plenty of kids that we grew up with that had delay in communication and stuff without a diagnosis. And so, I mean, it happened. It was a different time. Daniel, how old are you?
I am 41.
Okay. So much younger than us, but yeah. So, Daniel, how old is your son?
I have a 5-year-old son. He's
Wow.
pre-K right now. He'll be in kindergarten this fall.
Will he be at the same school with you, Daniel?
He already is at the same school right now.
How fun.
And it is so fun to be around him during the day. It just makes my day being around. I check on him at times inside when he's in the classroom, just to get a little sneak peek to see how he's doing.
Yeah.
When he's in the hallway, he loves to give me a big hug, and it brightens my day.
Oh, how exciting. And so when I saw you speak, you definitely talked about your love for sports. But what is your dream job? What is your dream job you would love to have?
I'm in a situation now. If you ask me in my mid-20s, I almost had it happen. I would have worked for ESPN doing their stats and research department, and I would have watched a bunch of games and tell people what's going on with situations during the day and research stats that the average person wouldn't. know or know about.
Mhm.
I remember being interviewed for the position, and I still answered every question correctly and still didn't even get the job. I even went through going to their headquarters on my own terms to get an opportunity to talk to somebody to get hired. So I went 1,500 miles on my own terms to do that. And I was crushed when I didn't get that job at the time. And it really shows how hard we have to work on the spectrum. We do everything we can, whether it be socially, whether it be knowing the skills to get the job, and to still fall short was very disappointing. Of all the things that I've been rejected on, from women to jobs, this was the toughest rejection I had ever gone through in my life, still today.
Wow.
That is tough, because I think also all the effort you put in, and then it sounds like you have an amazing gift with sports and looking at the stats and memorizing the plays and the players and all of that. So, I can understand why that would be a big, hard, hit. But now you're feeling fairly fulfilled in your career, and your family is growing, and but the speaking engagements, and then you volunteer also with the Families for Effective Autism Treatment, the FEET. You talked about that earlier. Do you still work at creating support groups, or how do you support the FEET program in Dallas area?
I just try to support the FEET by just interacting with the people who are on the board to make it better. Just trying to see how they're doing with their support groups. They have a tweens group for just tweens, and
Yes.
so that helps a lot. Also, I'm a busy person, so I don't get to volunteer as much as I like on that, with refereeing and working in a school system and raising a family and trying to get as many public speaking gigs as possible.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, when I can, I try to put a balance to everything. But with FEET, my goal was to do the support groups and just interacting with the people on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Mhm.
Um,
How often are you doing speaking engagements right now?
I like to get once a month. I'm getting a lot more. I'm getting the podcasts with you guys more.
Yeah.
That's been a hot topic lately, just doing podcasts. I created some videos on different things. I'm also on the Virginia Tech self-advocacy group. Virginia Tech is a college that my dad graduated from over 50 years ago. So I'm in their self-advocacy program, and we talk about things and how someone could be successful in college, as well as transitioning into adulthood when they get employed.
and then teaching people how to be their own voice, speaking up for their what they need to be successful, because sometimes it's just the access, having equal access to different opportunities, but where maybe you're needing some help in one area with just a little adjustment, a little modification, that these kids and these adults can access more opportunities for learning or jobs or housing and so forth. So those are great things. And then when you guys are working with the preteen group, what are some hot topics that y'all talk about to help the preteens on the spectrum? Like, what are some things that seem to be of interest to them to tackle in this crazy day and age that we're living in right now?
I'm not in it. I just know the group has done the with the tweens, but I would say probably some things socially, just how to make relationships, how to be socially savvy, how to speak up. Those are some things that are very hot topic that are going on.
Yeah.
Those are great advice. I mean, I know we see so many students on the spectrum, and just giving them the tools. They just need their toolbox so that they can say, okay, I know that this is this, or these are some things that I need to pay attention to, or just how quick and ever changing the social scene is for these young kids. I mean, it is so challenging out there for someone that's neurotypical, I put that in quotes, to someone who is on the spectrum. So giving them those tools is just an important aspect of what all of these groups are doing. It also said in your bio that you, in 2013, had been given an honor by the governor to serve on the Texas Council of Autism and Pervasive Developmental Disorders. So that must have been a lot of work on your part, but getting that word out, educating people about what people on the spectrum are going through, and then maybe also helping people access some therapies or some outside supports.
I learned so much being on the Texas Council on Autism and PDD, Pervasive Developmental Disorders. I got to talk about how we can improve as a state related to autism, whether it be transition programs, whether it be in the school system, what we can work on. We talked about insurance. We talked about grants to get involved in it. I learned politically as well as just academically and psychologically. I learned how severe it is to the most profound person on the spectrum, to a person who's very high functioning. I just learned a lot about it and how much work is involved in it politically to get things going. And I served on it from 2013 to 2020.
Wow. That's a long time. Wow, what a commitment.
That's incredible. And it's so important to have a voice of a actual representative versus a parent or a sibling, that you were actually there and could speak directly about what life is like living on the spectrum and all the challenges. When I saw you speak, you spoke very passionately about autonomy and really trying to be as independent as possible. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I tried to talk about how we could get folks on the spectrum to live autonomy lives and live independently as much as possible. They might not know all the answers. They might not have the finances. They might not, but they need to have the tools to how to navigate themselves around it. So, like, for whether it be what are tools to do after they graduate from high school, to how to, I learned how to even how to maintain their car, how to maintain a house, to pros and cons with an apartment living, to living in a house, to their finances. How do we get parents to start them to transition smoothly, not wait till they're 14, 16, 18 years old, but start at 5, 6, 7 years old to transition smoothly, because the resources get slimmer and slimmer after age 22. So we talk about autonomy. We talk about the people I mentor or interact with. I give them the school hard knocks, and I try to tell them, I want you to pretend your parents are dead. What would you do if your parents were dead? How would you handle yourself in those situations? How would you function as a person? My mother did that to me, and now I try to share it to other people, how to handle those situations.
And that's so important. It is, when kids are younger and you're just trying to navigate speech and OT and PT and everything, you forget the autonomy piece and teaching independence. And sometimes it's easier just to do it for them or whatever. But that autonomy piece, when you spoke about that, that really resonated with me. and I knew we had a lot of work to do when we got back from the conference on the autonomy piece, but I really appreciated your talk about that. So, you and your wife have been married for how long?
It will be 10 years in the middle of May.
Okay. And how have you managed a relationship?
I have learned to find a fine balance to not to be rigid, but also let my voice be heard and what I like and don't like when it comes to boundaries to certain situations and what I have a stance on in personal views. I've learned how to try to compromise and collaborate with her. That's what I've learned with her, and just try to be a good listener and around her and serve my wife with love and really just be the best leader I could be in the relationship.
Nice. That's
I love that. How did y'all meet? How did you and your wife meet?
We met at a dating website.
Okay.
I was struggling to get dates, and I met, and I remember meeting her and I took her out to a baseball game because I had tickets and I was trying to get rid of the tickets and nobody bought the tickets. So I thought I have this ticket, so let's use it. And I took her, and it was a home run from the first date. And I've learned to enjoy the time I've had with her at this time overall. It was a great day that day, and we've had many great times over close to 10 years that we've been around.
That's incredible.
I love
Hey,
that.
Daniel, I know you love sports. What is your favorite sport?
To watch, it would be football. To officiate, it would be softball.
Oh,
Okay.
fun. Who's your like favorite athletes?
Man, that's tough.
I
Who's my favorite
know.
athlete? I love Dirk Nowitzki when he played in the NBA. I love Otani, Shohei Otani, plays for the LA Dodgers with baseball. Football. I love how Peyton Manning played when he was with Indianapolis and Denver. So I love that. But a favorite athlete, man, that's tough.
Man.
Tough to pinpoint.
Do you have a favorite sports memory from, just all time?
I have a couple, one from an official standpoint and one from a fan standpoint. The fan side of me, my wife and I got to go to the World Series when the Rangers were playing in 2023. And we went to game 1, and they won in dramatic fashion, which was probably near our 10 years of marriage. That's probably one of the best dates we've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up there.
Yeah.
Does your wife share your love for sports, or does she more go with it because it makes you so happy?
I think she's learned to become a fan more and more. She's done really well. I've talked with her about stuff. She's sometimes torn with me officiating. She wishes I was home more. She wishes I just had an 8 to 5 and just spend time with the family. But she understands my passion and love, and she understands, the providing side. It helps provide for our family too.
Yeah.
And without it, I wouldn't be able to do the things we want to do.
Right.
Speaking on that officiating, probably one of my best memories, and and this is probably one of the coolest memories, is I became the first person on the spectrum to umpire a Division I game at the softball level last year.
Wow.
What game?
It was University of North Texas versus Texas A&M Commerce, who are now called East Texas A&M. Not only that, it was on ESPN through Hulu, ESPN Plus.
Uh-huh.
So it was the first time, and it was on TV, and it was something I always remember.
Yeah. How exciting.
Amazing.
Were you like, I got on ESPN one way or another?
There, if you see on my Facebook, I have it pinned, and it tells the story about how I became the first. I tell about how I became the first, and I tell about my story being turned down by ESPN, to how I got into a fish. I'm getting a little emotional. I'm sorry.
No.
Because it means so much to
I
me.
love it.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So I talk about how I got turned down, and then I was trying to figure out my way, how I was going to get into it. And through a friend, I got into officiating. And then when I got into college, I had the dream that I wanted to be on TV and have my name announced. And when that happened, that meant so much to me.
Oh.
And now the next goals is to now, I would love to long-term, 10 to 15, 20 years from now, is to do the College World Series on TV. The Olympics are going to be in LA in 2028. I know this is a long shot, but a dream would be to do the Olympics as an umpire. And I think by doing these things, I hope more people on the spectrum get into this avocation some way or another. I would love to see the NCAA take a serious look with people on the spectrum who can umpire a game and who can officiate a ball game.
Agreed.
I think you'd be surprised what they can do and how they interact with other people.
I agree, and I think that with a lot of times people on the spectrum can have a very black and white, right and wrong, and you're not going to get swayed by outside influences. You're going to go with your gut, and you're going to stick with the
Yes. Agreed. Or just the data collection and the stats and stuff like that. I mean, ESPN should 100% be leaning in our population that knows. I bet Daniel could somebody's batting average from 1972. It's like here.
He's like,
incredible.
So Shelly and I are going to try to manifest that for you.
Yeah, we're going to manifest it for you. We want to see you in the Olympics. We want to see it.
I want every one of your dreams to come true.
That's right.
I think it's one step by one person, but it's a bigger step for the whole community.
It is.
It's like, it's one less hurdle. It's one more thing that people can see themselves doing, aspiring to, and, just bridging those gaps of accessibility. And just like you're saying, Daniel, it's give this guy a chance, you never know what they're going to do. And they might really blow your socks off, as Shelly likes to say.
Yeah.
So I think we have to, open up those doors. And this is just another way, another venue, like your public speaking or how you're talking about autonomy and self-advocacy, all of those things, and then teaching other people how to do that same thing for themselves.
Yeah.
So important. So important. You are a hero. You
are. And so how did somebody follow you? How do you like people to connect with you?
Yes.
Through Facebook, mostly Facebook, and just follow, just friend me, and I'll get back in touch with you on that. I always have something on Facebook, usually every week. Some weeks more than others, depending on what's going on. That's how I try not to get too much into social media. There's too much cuts away from time with everything else.
Yeah.
I try to limit my social media, but I try to also have some to interact with people and stay in touch with people. So I like to have a balance between those two.
Well, we will definitely share your social media links on all of our platforms and in the notes of this podcast. And I mean, we are going to manifest for you. We want to see you out there. I agree. It somebody sees you do it and they're like, I can do it. And that's what we want for, these little guys. That's what we want for your son.
Yes.
He's like, look at my dad. This is incredible. I can do anything.
I mean, that's ultimately, the big wish is that everybody gets to live out their dreams.
Yeah.
Especially someone just like you who lives and doing good for others. And I know good things are going to keep happening to you. I mean, you are an inspiration. I'm so impressed.
So do you have a bracket, or you can't do a bracket because you officiate?
Are you allowed to gamble?
I have to actually be careful with sports gambling because I'm a college official. So I try to abstain from the gambling side because it becomes a job when you get to the college levels, especially the higher you go doing college games, because it's very intense. It's very competitive.
Yes.
Doing that at that level. So I try to abstain from it. I mean, I might have a prediction who I think, but I'm not going to put any money down on it.
We're really proud of them. We ran into our Lucas, and he's a huge TCU guy, and he was coming in to go watch them and just enjoying every minute of sports. And he was telling me the crazy story about, was it last year with the TCU women's team that they had a lot of injuries and they had to, or was it 2 years ago that they had to send out a come and try out and we'll give you a chance.
It was last year, actually. They actually had so many injuries that they had to get people in their campus to say, come try out for our team. And there were some people that were playing volleyball and they were trying to use their athleticism in volleyball to get into basketball.
Oh my God.
Or they played basketball in high school, so they got a chance to do it in college. I thought that was intriguing, especially coming from a Division I school.
Yeah.
And then look at they've gelled. Look how they've, here they are now.
Here they are. Yeah.
Big games. So I'm impressed.
Hey, did you have any experience with our baseball coach when he was at TCU, Jimmy?
No, I did not. No, I did not. I didn't have any experience with him. I know he's pretty good, but nothing. No interaction. He wouldn't know me. I won't know him. So,
all right. Before we let you go, when you're at all these games and you're just having to eat whatever's there, what's your lickable plate? What's your go-to order when you're at the stadiums and the arenas? What do you like to eat at a game?
When I go to any game, I like to see if they got a good pizza and popcorn.
Pizza and popcorn. Not a hot dog guy. You want some pizza.
I like pizza.
I like nachos. I like the nachos.
Yeah.
Well, this has been such a treat. We have enjoyed getting to know you, Daniel Durany, and we are hoping to manifest all your big wishes and them to come true so much. Not just for you, of course for you, but also for all of us who are watching people on the spectrum trying to get their dreams to reality.
Well, we can say we knew Daniel way back when, before he was on the Olympics.
Please.
That would be awesome.
Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. So, Texas.
Yeehaw.